as a Hispanic, I have the moral and even the aesthetic imperative to be Anglophobic, right? But there's Anglophobia. There are limits to Anglophobia. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
of
like,
course.
um,
I'm not gonna throw Tolkien or C.S. Lewis or King Arthur in the trash just because like my Anglos or whatever.
no,
And I'm
exactly.
speaking I'm speaking English, right? You
Of
know.
course, and the nature of dissident culture in England was Catholic. You know.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We can't also throw out Chester. You know, I know you don't really like him that much, but we're talking about throwing him in the trash. Yeah, there's no. Our Anglophobia is very concrete. It's not essentialist. Even it's not essentialist. It's not something that we ascribe like, oh, they're always going to be like this. It's the last 500 years. We have a problem with the last 500 years, and we have a problem that with the fact that they have slandered us. That's why we single them out so thoroughly. Uh, Even though we also may have conflicts with the French, and we may have problems with maybe with German idealism and stuff like that. But it's like this like the conflict is happening in this continent, and it's going on still. It's been going on for 500 years at this point, and so we're just acknowledging that conflict.
Not only that, but there are literally like British like Catholic writers that have very, very similar critiques of, the UK that we're saying here today, right now. If
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
Exactly.
Is it Tolkien one of them actually?
He probably is, but I was thinking more like that guy who wrote like the Jesuits in North America. I think it was Parkman. I know he's a guy that says something very similar. And there's a few handful of authors that are Catholic British, and like we're not obviously happy with the fact that they switched to Anglicanism because their king wanted to remarry, and then they got the consequences of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, also like the nature of Anglicanism. It's not like there's a lot of like high church Anglo Catholics and shit, but
Yeah.
they need to be aware that Anglicans in a certain period of time they basically embrace Calvinism.
Yeah.
So it's complicated for Anglo Catholics that like to talk about like, oh yeah, tradition and shit.
Yeah, so any good Catholic that is British is my brother. And but the angle like political, and again, like we have to make distinctions between individual and political. We have no problem with like individual Anglos or whatever. We're recognizing as a political conflict. We're not making this individual about individuals. We're not making this about you and your, maybe about Borges and his British grandmother, and we're renouncing Jorge Luis Borges because he was part British. It's not about that. It's political. It's recognizing. Listen, there's all this problems, theological problems, political problems, sociological problems, and imperial problems that we have to deal with, and that's it. And that's it, really.
Yeah, we're not going. I mean, I don't know you guys, but I tend to not like Jesus Maestro a lot. And we're not going like autistically like Jesus Maestro type of like Anglophobia, you know what I mean? Which is funny, and you can do like memes about it, but like I don't know.
I mean, I would argue that Anglo culture, which is essentially liberalism, is bad for Anglos. Like right now when Klaus was talking about Sargon, I'm not really familiar with these guys' work. But when you told me that Sargon doesn't like the French and would rather Afro-Saxons come to England than French people.
Yes, he embraces Jamaicans. He would embrace a Jamaican way more than a white Frenchman.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me, and that makes me like that kind of in a weird way. It was kind of like white pilling, like, oh, there's still sensible Anglos on some level, right? Like, they haven't necessarily, completely disconnect them. And I think the Brits do a better job than the Americans. I'll say that much.
Well, most immigrants to the UK are like, people from the colonies outside of like Slavs. So that actually makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to obviously clarify that he's a super liberal. Like he's classical liberalism 101. But
But I mean, like,
Europeans, like,
I don't think like
sorry.
it's different, right? It's not what the British did in Pakistan was different from what the Spaniards did in America. It's
Oh,
not,
for sure.
Absolutely.
so it's not like